Prologue: The Secret Buried Right Here on Earth. The 21st century, a golden age of advanced technology and artificial intelligence. Yet, one ancient question still remains unanswered. Where did we come from in the turbulent era of the 2020s as natural disasters, pandemics, wars, and global instability all rise simultaneously? Like signs of an impending doomsday, humanity has begun to question the very foundations it once believed solid science theory and even the origin of our own existence. While Darwin's theory of evolution was once the bedrock of modern biology, it is now beginning to crack. More and more researchers are asking, if humans evolved naturally, why are we so different? Why are humans the dominant species on Earth? The only creatures that need shoes to walk, clothes to survive, houses to shelter from the sun. Why is it that the so-called smartest species is prone to chronic illness, vulnerable to its own environment, and above all, biologically unfit for this planet? Some scientists refer to this as the latent extraterrestrial syndrome of humanity, suggesting that we weren't born here, but rather placed here for a reason. Part 1. A species that doesn't belong. Humans. Strange creatures when viewed through the lens of biology. No fur for warmth, no claws or fangs for defense, weak night vision, poor endurance. Yet we became the rulers of the planet. The answer lies in our genes, the silent epic recording, the evolutionary story of our kind. But when geneticists mapped the full human genome, they discovered something alarming. Over 200 genetic segments found in humans don't appear in any other living species on Earth. They don't come from apes, primates, or any known common ancestor. These sequences seem to have been inserted as if by deliberate design. Dr. David L. Roberts, an evolutionary biologist from the UK, once said at a closed scientific conference in 2013, "If we're being honest with the evidence, we must admit humans are unlikely to be solely the product of natural selection. Some force, some hand, has reshaped us in a way nature never could." His statements were swiftly scrubbed from the official record. Months later, Dr. Roberts retired from the field entirely. But the question he raised still haunts researchers. Are we a designed species? And if so, who designed us? Part 2. Traces of the divine engineers in history. Let us turn to the past. Ancient civilizations across the globe, Egypt, Mesopotamia, India, China, Mesoamerica, all shared one strange feature. They all spoke of gods who descended from the sky, created mankind, and taught us language, agriculture, mathematics, and architecture. In Sumerian texts, the earliest known civilization, there exists a race called the Anunnaki. According to clay tablets, the Anunnaki came from Nibiru, a planet not yet verified by modern science. They created humans from clay and the blood of gods, a chilling match with today's concept of gene manipulation. The book of Genesis tells of the sons of God taking human women as wives, producing a race of giants. In the book of Enoch, a text banned from the official Bible, these giants were hybrids of gods and humans. Coincidence? The Mayans worshipped Itzamna, a sky being who granted humans knowledge. The Egyptians had Osiris, a god who died resurrected and civilized humanity. The Dogon people of West Africa spoke of the Namo cosmic teachers from the Sirius star system. If just one culture claimed this, we could dismiss it as myth. But when all civilizations separated by geography, language, and time tell the same story, we must ask, did they imagine it, or did they witness it? Part 3. Code within our DNA, the signature of our makers. Imagine you discover a book written in a language you've never seen, but with structure, grammar, repeating patterns. You wouldn't think it came from wind or waves. You'd assume someone wrote this. That is exactly how many scientists feel when studying human DNA. The human genome contains roughly 3 billion base pairs, encoding every aspect of our biology. But shockingly, some gene sequences appear structured like computer code. Some mathematicians liken DNA to binary programming, with inputs, processing, and outputs. Certain sequences resemble if-then logic. If A occurs, then do B. This is not biological randomness. This is algorithmic intention. In 2003, a team of Kazakh scientists published a radical paper which was quickly buried, claiming human DNA may contain encoded messages structured like a cosmic language. They found a repeated sequence present in all humans, regardless of race or geography, suggesting a universal signature, a message, a declaration. Humanity was no accident. So once again, the question returns. Who planted this code inside us, and why Part 4 hidden pieces, science or suppression? There is mounting evidence from fossils and carvings to genetic models suggesting that human history did not follow a straight line from ape to modern man. We have Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and then suddenly Homo sapiens, with language consciousness and the ability to create art, emerging with no clear intermediate steps. The timelines don't align. The mutation patterns don't add up. And the theory of random mutation plus natural selection can't explain this explosion of intelligence. But whenever new evidence emerges, someone seems to rush in to discredit or bury it. Did you know numerous elongated skulls have been discovered in Peru, China, and India, and quietly locked away from official archaeological records? Ancient carvings show beings flying in disc-shaped crafts, wearing astronaut-like suits, and interacting with large-headed, dark-eyed entities. Even more strangely, many researchers who touch the topic of humanity's true origins end up in accidents, disappearances, or are silenced. Coincidence? Or is there something someone doesn't want us to know? Part 5. Heaven, Hell, or Interstellar Transit Stations. Major world religions teach that humanity was created by God. But what if we replace the word God with a higher intelligence not from Earth? Suddenly, the stories become eerily logical. Genesis says, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, us who is us." Why would a singular God speak in plural? This line has long baffled theologians, but under the hypothesis of cosmic engineers, it makes perfect sense. A group of beings worked together to design humanity. In Egypt, the gods with bird heads, Thoth jackal heads, Anubis, appeared part human, part animal, as if multiple species once came to Earth and experimented with genetic fusion. Even the Bible describes chariots of fire and bright clouds that God uses to descend descriptions strangely similar to modern UFO sightings. From this, a radical theory arises. Could heaven and hell be dimensional layers, transit zones for souls awaiting either reprogramming or deletion? If humans were created, then the soul may be the source code, the most valuable element of our being fought over by opposing forces of light and darkness. Part 6. Ancient Protectors, Memories that Don't Belong to Us. If we were created, then surely there must have been an original version, perhaps more perfect than we are today. Myths from Sumer to Greece tell of a golden age when humans lived among gods, had long lifespans, understood astronomy and the soul's nature. The Atlanteans, according to Plato, were not just advanced, but capable of manipulating energy and communicating with star beings. The ancient Egyptians called them the first protectors. The Hindus called them devas. The Chinese called them heavenly beings who came from above and then withdrew. Strangely, nearly all these legends end the same way. These beings once lived among humans, but then vanished suddenly, leaving a void in our history. One theory says after a rebellion or a corruption in genetic experiments, our creators hit reset, wiping most of the population and starting anew. The Great Flood described in the Bible, Book of Enoch, Epic of Gilgamesh, and indigenous myths worldwide may have been that reset event. We modern Homo sapiens may not be the first version. We may be the patched update with shortened lifespans, blocked subconscious, and much of our original intelligence locked away. And like a distant dream, we still carry fragments of those lost eras within us. Have you ever felt like you've been here before? That you know things you never learned? That you've seen something that doesn't belong in this reality? Maybe you're remembering a life before the reset when humans still knew who created them. Part 7. When darkness rises, the invisible war has begun. If superior beings created humans, then surely other forces want to possess us, especially our souls. Religion calls it Satan the deceiver, the divider, the dominator. Science calls it dark energy, the force that destroys thought. Ancient myths call it fallen entities from other dimensions. And the scary part, they've returned. You can see the signs. A lost and anxious younger generation, rising personality disorders and identity crises, the collapse of family culture and morality, and above all, a tech addiction, turning humans into slaves of their own creations. Many researchers now believe that AI synthetic biology and biochips are tools to recreate the same process the divine engineers once used, but this time not to upgrade humans, to turn us into something else. When mankind begins to play God, they are repeating the original sin, and this time there may be no one left to stop it. Conclusion: if evolution is wrong, then what is the truth? Evolution is not entirely wrong, but it is incomplete. It cannot explain why we are alone in the universe, why we constantly look toward the sky longing to understand what lies beyond the stars, and why we carry an unconscious fear of death as if we were punished, banished, and forced to live here awaiting something. When you look in the mirror, don't just see skin, bone, and hair. Look deeper, you are a design, a programmed soul, a being with blocked memory. The question isn't, did we evolve from apes, but rather, who programmed humanity, and are they coming back? Because if the answer is yes, then every religion must be reread like a coded manuscript. Every science today is merely a shadow of lost knowledge, and human history has not even begun.